As you're getting situated, you're welcome at any time to either close your eyes or set your gaze downward. Just taking a bit of time to notice how your breath is moving this morning, how you're feeling. Sometimes we kind of come rushing in. Okay, I got to fit this in until the next thing comes. Sometimes we roll in rather sleepy. And none of that is to be judged. It's just to notice. I'm feeling a little sleepy this morning. Maybe I'll lean forward slightly, just giving myself that gentle alertness as an offering rather than a forcefulness. How does my body feel? Do I have the right amount of support? Am I warm enough or cool enough? Just checking in at that level. Can I take care of myself? Just at the physical level right now. What do I need? How does my breath feel? This check-in process, this arriving process, we revisit it often. That doesn't mean once we've sat down and we've become a bit still, that sensation or that feeling of stillness stays. Our mind moves, our body starts to want to make adjustments. We're just curiously settling in. Sometimes it's staying and a tiny bit of discomfort in our body helps us be very curious about it rather than sometimes a reaction to it. But it doesn't mean we have to stay in discomfort to the point that we can no longer stay. There's no right or wrong. It's just moment to moment. And then just checking in. How does this breath feel? Can I notice some subtle movement, even in the stillness in my body? And as we're continuing to settle and get situated, I'm just going to name the practice, the concept we're working with this month, self-compassion. And the concept can be helpful sometimes so that we have tools to work with. But reminder, the most important part is just the practice itself, just that you showed up. And then it's moment by moment. It truly is. There's no way to get this wrong. It's just showing up for yourself moment by moment. But in that practice, we're practicing as much as possible being compassionate with ourselves. And as a whole, we can look at compassion as a way to be kind to ourselves, as a way to practice curiosity instead of judgment, and as a way to connect. There's kind of three main parts in looking at self-compassion. And this is from the work of Dr. Kristin Neff, one of my teachers. She was one of the first people to be able to study self-compassion as a tool. And her main things that she pulled, and people that were quote unquote naturally self-compassionate, and through study she recognized it's a skill that's built. It's not necessarily just something we're born with or not. Some people might have a more naturally positive outlook or a more naturally negative. All of that is just noticing and knowing who you are. But the self-compassion, it's really looking at self-kindness, common humanity, so we're not separating ourselves. And then just mindfulness itself. And the way that we work with those tools is mindfulness itself. Instead of identifying with every thought that comes, instead of identifying with, man, I am this knee pain, it's going to be here forever. Sometimes our mind goes in that direction. We always or never ourselves, or we should ourselves. I should do it this way. I always do this. I never do this. And in that way, we start to claim maybe some part of who we aren't. But the mindfulness, just the awareness. I'll spend a little bit of time on that step right there. Can I just be aware of my breath? Can I just be aware of the sensation that's coming and going? Let's spend some time here with yourself. Am I aware of the sensation in my feet? And if I wasn't a moment ago, I am now. And can I just celebrate that? Just noticing my feet. It's probably likely that your attention, my attention, has moved away from my feet already. And that's okay. We're not trying to pay attention only to our feet, but that's a contact point that we can come back to again and again. Just like we can come back to our breath. And we often focus on our breath because it's ever so subtly moving. Our mind tends to want to pay attention to the things that are moving, the things that require a decision. This movement of our breath, just noticing the in and out, the ebb and flow. And another reason we pay attention to our breath is because we innately know that we can't hang on only to the inhale, nor can we be forever exhaling. It's the both and. It's this awareness that we need both the inhale and the exhale. And in a very subtle way, that helps us recognize that we can feel both and in a lot of places. Now, maybe I'm feeling some tension in my body and I'm feeling some ease in my shoulders and jaw. Maybe there's a thought that's coming and it's bringing me some tension in my emotional landscape. And when I remember my breath, I can find some ease in just breathing. Just again, curious, you can anchor back into the physical sensation in your body. What else are you aware of? Is there a particular emotion or feeling? Is there a particular type of thought? Oh, yep, I keep going to the future this morning. Just awareness of that. And in our awareness, we're also working with another part of self-compassion, which is just curiosity. Just curious about this breath. What does it feel like? And these first two parts, awareness and curiosity, they go hand in hand. Sometimes I become aware of something and I'm immediately wanting to judge it. When I notice that, I'm just practicing choosing curiosity to the best of my ability. That might come in the form of a question. My brain, "Ugh, I didn't plan enough time in the day. I have too much to get done. My brain is making this judgment." And then the curiosity, is that 100% true? In this moment, am I too busy? Hmm, you know what? No, in this moment, I am just taking a breath. Future thinking, Larissa, feels too busy. But where I currently am in my body, I'm noticing my feet touching the floor. My feet are not too busy. My hands are not too busy. Well, there's a part of me, it's my mind that's feeling busy. That's okay. It's okay that that's happening. I'm aware of it. And just awareness and curiosity. And through that, coming into connection, that third part of self kindness. Just reconnecting back to my body again and again. Sometimes as I'm connecting to my body, I'm noticing pleasant sensations. And sometimes they're not pleasant. A pleasant sensation, can I just ease into it? Just aware of the ease. When I notice a not pleasant sensation, that's just information my body is telling me that my body needs a little tending. And how can I soften a bit of tension in my jaw? If my body is telling me my spine is becoming stiff, how can I find some ease there? How can I tend to myself? Just moment by moment. How is my breath feeling? Coming back to yourself again and again, just noticing if your mind headed off. Sometimes it just gets a little wandery and there's just some random thoughts coming and going. Sometimes there's a particular direction. We're going to the future or the past. And again, it's just awareness of that. We're not trying to force the thought away. But oftentimes, just becoming aware of the thought softens it. And then we can remind ourselves, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm just practicing noticing my breath. I don't have to do that in any particular way. Can I notice my feet? Can I notice what part of my body is grounded and stable? Can I notice little movements in my body? Or maybe I'm choosing a movement in order to find some ease again. In this practice, there's ebbs and flows. Sometimes time goes very quickly. Sometimes our eyes flash open second by second because something is happening internally in our mind. And all of those things are normal. We're just tapping in so we can really start to notice, how am I connecting with myself? Am I doing it in a way that's kind to the best of my ability? And as I'm connecting with myself, what do I notice? Sometimes I notice my body shares an emotion with me before my mind even registers it. I might notice almost a prickling sensation in my sinuses. And then suddenly there's tears in my eyes. And my brain is like, oh no, why is that happening? I'm trying to figure it out. But instead of going up into my mind, I'm just practicing staying in my body. I'm noticing that sensation. I don't need to fix or change it. Maybe I don't even need to know why. Can I just feel the sensation for sensation itself? And then practice tending to my body. Sometimes the opposite happens. A thought causes a sensation. It doesn't matter how it's happening. It's just this practice of awareness, curiosity, and connection. And doing that as many times as you need. What am I aware of right now in my sensory landscape? Is there any tending I need to do to my body? And can I do it in a kind way to the best of my ability? Breathing and aware of breathing, knowing that's enough. Just checking in with ourselves the best we can with awareness, curiosity, just reconnecting. Noticing when we disconnect from the present, our mind wanders to the future or the past. And then with that awareness, we can choose again. Oh, yeah, that's right. Just noticing my breath, just curious. I'm just connecting with my body. And then here it comes again, a new awareness. Oh, yeah, that's right. Feeling. I'm aware of that feeling. Curious about it. Connecting to myself. As I start to come to a close, I'm just going to share a short poem, and I'll read it twice. This is by Amy Schmidt. It's called Abundance. Practicing abundance and generosity with ourselves is another form of self-compassion. And what she says here is, Really, just what we've been practicing, trying to stay present to the best of our ability, just being aware when our mind moves away. Now, here's this poem, Abundance. It's impossible to be lonely when you're zesting an orange. Scrape the soft rind once, and the whole room fills with fruit. Look around. You have more than enough. You always have. Perhaps just didn't notice it until now. And again, it's impossible to be lonely when you're zesting an orange. Scrape the soft rind once, and the whole room fills with fruit. Look around. You have more than enough. You always have. Perhaps just didn't notice until now. With that invitation, I'll invite you to bring your hands into your closing habits or practices. And is it possible to recognize something in your life that feels abundant? It's very common for our mind to go to the things that we don't have or the things we need to get to. Perhaps the only thing that comes to mind is breath itself. I have plenty of breath to give and take. Perhaps it's something else that comes to mind. Just curious about that. What is abundant in my life? And then we'll end with a few loving kindness phrases. You can repeat them back if they make sense for you. May I remember to practice abundance. May I remember to practice curiosity. May I remember the innate goodness of my breath. And as often as possible, may I choose to move with ease and peace. Take your time whenever you feel complete. You can open your eyes, find some movement if that feels good. And as always, thank you each for being here. Let me know if you have questions. And then taking the practice with you, however it makes sense. Curiosity, connection, awareness, and then perhaps bringing that question of abundance. What can I notice that's abundant in my life?